for a minute of silent prayer. Amen. The Secretary will please call the roll.
The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto III, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, Senate President Pro Tempore Gatchalian.
With 13 senators present, the chair declares a quorum.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the election of the Senate President of the Philippines. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the election of the Senate President is now in order.
Mr. President, I move to, if I may be able to be recognized, to nominate our Senate President.
Yes, we recognize the Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise today to nominate Senate President Pro Temp Sherwin Gatchalian as the President of the Senate of the Philippines. Throughout his public service career as member of the House of Representatives, as mayor of Valenzuela City, and as senator, he has consistently proven his competence, his effective leadership, and his unparalleled work ethic. Siya nga po palagi ang nagsasara ng Senado, staying late in his office even after adjournment. As a matter of fact, Mr. President, I hear complaints from your staff that hindi na po sila nakakauwi ng disenteng oras dahil overwork daw sila, overwork. At palagi nilang tinatanong sa akin, kailan ko daw siyang mahahanap ng girlfriend para makauwi daw ng mas maaga. Kaya, Mr. President, ikaw nga po daw ang sinasabi niya nagsasara ng Senado na wala na pong staff, ikaw na lang po naiiwan. And that just shows your dedication, Mr. President, on how hardworking you are in preparing for the days ahead. He has ably led some of our most demanding and time-consuming and consequential committees, namely the Committee on Energy, the Committee on Economic Affairs, the Committee on Basic Education, and most notably, the Committee on Finance. As Finance Chair, he had navigated the very challenging period in the wake of flood control scams coming into light. But he led the Finance Committee with great resolve, spearheading unprecedented initiatives to ensure accountability and transparency in the national budget. I believe that this last budget, my dear colleagues, was one of the most transparent in recent history. As a matter of fact, whatever projects that we wanted to insert or amend into the budget, we had to come up with voluminous requirements and documents coming from the agencies themselves and the receiving bodies like the LGUs. And that was the request, not just the request, it was the demand of then Finance Chair Wing Gatchalian. He's the leader that the Senate needs in this time of division and disarray, and he has done this before. I know he'll be able to rise above the fray and lead us back to our principal function, which is to attend to the work of legislation. I have every confidence that as Senate President, he'll be able to set the institution back on the right path, guided by the highest standards of service, integrity, and morality. To my colleagues, I plead, let us elect Senate President Gatchalian and let us get back to our work in this hallowed institution. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President. And maybe we don't need to put it to a vote, Mr. President. Maybe we can do it by acclamation, Mr. President. Ayes and nays would be fine. I so move, Mr. President.
So,
And I move to close. There are no other nominees for Senate President. I move to close the period of nomination.
any objection? Hearing none, the nominations are closed.
Therefore, Mr. President, we'd like to
Therefore,
congratulate.
Ye, as you said,
Yes.
to vote
Ayes and
will,
nays.
as acclamation. All those in favor of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines, say aye. Aye. All those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is declared Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines. May we ask Senator Gatchalian to, before that, Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Yes, just for the record that the vote having a quorum is unanimous, Mr. President, for the record.
Thank you. We place that on record. May we ask Senator Sherwin Gatchalian to ascend to the rostrum to take his oath as Senate President.
For the record, Mr. President.
Yan po sa ilaw. Spotlight.
May mga kasama ka.
Meron. Sila Mix.
Oo, dapat. Mix at saka si Cheese.
Mix.
May we request Senator Zubiri and Senator Escudero to please join us. Dito sila likod ko. Pamilya mo sa likod ko.
Okay. Mga
Dito.
X-Men. Yung sa kabila. Yung sa kabila.
Dito kami.
Dito yung family.
Di ba dapat dito kayo? Dito kayo dalawa. Dito. Dito kayo. Yan.
Yung may family.
Alright. Sige.
Pare, first
Tama ba?
bachelor Senate President.
Yung iba pretending.
Oh, mami mo nandiyan naman.
Diyan na. Leto na.
Yeah, kompleto na.
Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sherwin Gatchalian,
Having been elected to the position of Senate President,
having been elected to the position of Senate President,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
the duties of my present
the
position
duties of my present position
and of all others I may hereafter hold
and of all others I may hereafter hold
under the Republic of the Philippines,
under the Republic of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the Philippines,
the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and maintain true faith and allegiance
and maintain true faith and allegiance
to the Republic of the Philippines,
to the Republic of the Philippines,
and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, just put on record as well that you have been ably discharging your function as Senate President Pro Temp and Acting President since your election in June 3, 2026. We'd just like to extend our congratulations on your elections as the new Senate President.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, now I would like to move that we proceed with the election of the Senate President Pro Tempore. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the election of the Senate President Pro Tempore is in order.
May I ask Senator, may we recognize, Mr. President, Senator Ping Lacson for the nomination.
We recognize Senator Ping Lacson.
Thank you, Mr. President. With your Honor's ascension as the fourth Senate President of the 20th Congress of the Republic of the Philippines, your previous post as Senate President pro tempore is now officially vacant. May I therefore nominate Senator Vicente Soto III to the position of Senate President pro tempore. Before I make my motion, Mr. President, I think I will be remiss of my duty and responsibility as a senator, colleague, and friend if I didn't thank and commend our two distinguished colleagues, Senator Chis Escudero and Senator Joel Villanueva, for responding to their higher calling for this chamber, our beloved institution known as the Philippine Senate. Higher than their friendships, their affiliations, and every individual member of this body, even higher than themselves. I would also wish to put on record that I intentionally and voluntarily relinquished the chairmanship of what is known or most or often referred to as the most powerful committee, the Blue Ribbon, for two primary reasons. Number one, I am tired of losing old friends and creating new enemies. And number two, there are other colleagues who are equally, if not more qualified than this humble representation to take on the job. If there were no takers, I was willing, albeit with a heavy heart, to retain and continue sitting as chairman and resume a duty that I am morally and obligated to perform. With that, Mr. President, I move to nominate the position of Senate President pro tempore, Senator or the Honorable Vicente Soto III. I so move, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just to give a short manifestation, Mr. President, I'd like to have the privilege to second the nomination of Senator Vicente C. Soto III as a Senate President pro temp. I was his majority leader in all three times he was elected as Senate President. It was an honor for me to be his majority leader. They used to call me Major as the major in the plenary. But I can say from experience that he's second to none when it comes to knowledge of our institutional rules, traditions, and processes. He's what we need in the Senate leadership today. Someone who will protect the stability of the Senate and uphold the rules that give this institution shape and direction. Therefore, I would like to second the nomination of Vicente C. Soto III as our Senate President pro temp. Mr. President, there being no other nominations, I therefore move that we close the period of nomination and proceed with acclamation.
We therefore close the period of nominations and proceed to the voting for the Senate President pro tempore. Those who are in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those who are not in favor say nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations to our new Senate President pro tempore, Senator Tito Soto.
May we proceed, Mr. President, with the oath taking of may we proceed, Mr. President, with the oath taking of the Senate President pro tempore. Sabi daw pang retirement position yung Senate President. You want us to be behind you, sir?
Ayan pala.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
So, dito na kami dumaan, sir.
Si Cheese.
Ito ka, cheese.
Hindi, sa kabila. Sa kabila. Sa kabila. Sa kabila.
Yan.
Sa tabi ko. Mami, ako na mag-isa eh.
Okay.
Oath of office, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Vicente Soto III,
Having been elected Senate President pro tempore,
having been elected to the position of Senate President pro tempore,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
that I will well and faithfully
to
discharge
the best of my abilities,
to the best of my
the
abilities
duties of my present position,
the duties of my present position
and of all others I may hereafter hold,
and of all others I may hereafter hold
under the Republic of the Philippines,
under the Republic of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and maintain true faith and allegiance
and maintain true faith and allegiance
to the Republic of the
to
Philippines,
the Republic of the Philippines,
and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
JB, sama ka naman dito. Joel din, dating manjo.
Wala nang nomination.
Hindi, off lang.
Mr. President, if I may be able to take my oath as well as Majority Leader, although I have been elected as the Chairman of the Rules Committee, but I was not able to take my oath the last June 3 meeting.
Yes, we will administer the oath to
Thank you very
the
much, Mr.
majority leader.
Ito yung isang Congress na pang-apat na yung Senate President.
Oath of office, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Juan Miguel Zubiri,
Having been elected to the position of chairperson of the Committee on Rules,
have been elected to the position of Chairperson of the Committee on Rules,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my
the
ability,
duties of my present position,
the duties of my present position,
and of all others I may hereafter hold,
and of all others that I may hereafter hold,
under the Republic of the Philippines,
under the Republic of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines,
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
that I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and remain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines,
and remain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the
and
Philippines,
that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental
or
reservation
purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Election ng committee, ano, chairperson? Election ng committee chairperson.
Yes. Oh, do you have the list?
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, we're about to elect the members of the different committees so that we can buckle down to work, Mr.
Correct.
President. But I need just a 1 minute suspension to get the list from the staff.
1 minute suspension.
Mr. President, while our secretariat is still printing out the names of the other members of the committees, I'd just like to put on record the chairpersons of some of the committees have already been elected in June 3, 2026 to complete the committee chairmanships and memberships. I now move to elect the following senators as chairpersons and members of the following committees. If I may, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move for the constitution of the Committee on Accountability and Public Officers and Investigations, or the Blue Ribbon Committee, to be composed of 17 regular members and 3 ex officio members, reflecting an 11-9 majority-minority ratio. With the chairperson being elected, which is Senator Erwin Tulfo, and with 3 ex officio members taken into account, I move that all majority members, with the exception of one, which is Senator Chis Escudero, he requested to be the one not as a member of the committee, be elected as members of the said committee. I further move that all remaining senators who are currently in active discharge of their senatorial functions and who are not otherwise designated as ex officio members be elected as regular members, subject to the prescribed membership limit under the rules. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Yes, just to explain to the public that's listening, all members, actually 17 members po ang membership ng Committee on Accountability and
That's three.
Public Officers and Investigations, the Blue Ribbon Committee. Ibig po sabihin yan, 17 members plus yung ex officio members, which is the Senate President Pro Temp, the Majority Leader, the deputies, the two Deputy Majority Leaders, the Minority Leader, and also the Deputy Minority Leader. So halos lahat po, sa lahat na nakikinig po sa atin na yung araw na ito, halos lahat ng members ng Senado, except for one, ay magiging membro ng Blue Ribbon. So we just move today, Mr. President, to state that fact and put on the record.
So noted.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And upon the instruction of the chairperson, Senator Erwin Tulfo, I manifest the designation of Senator Kiko Pangilinan as vice chairperson of the said committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, manifestation is noted.
Mr. President, I'd like to also move on the election of members of the Committee on Social Justice on the part of the majority. The chairperson is Senator Erwin Tulfo. The vice chairperson is Senator Risa Ontiveros. And the members are Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Manuel Lito Lapid, and Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move to elect the members of the Committee on Energy. The chairperson being Senator Erwin Tulfo, Vice Chairperson Senator J.V. Ejercito, members Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Lito Lapid, and Senator Rafi Tulfo. We still need two members of the majority. I'll wait for the chairperson to give me the names of the two additional members. And so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we elect the committee members of the Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship. As chairperson, Senator Bam Aquino, and as members, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Cheese Escudero, Senator Manuel Lito Lapid, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes. The chairperson being Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, and members Senators Risa Ontiveros, Senator Ping Lacson, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Lito Lapid, and Senator Cheese Escudero. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
1 minute suspension.
Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Chis Escudero, and Senator Joel Villanueva. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we elect also the members of the Committee on Basic Education, the chairperson being Senator Bam Aquino, members Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Joel Villanueva. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
And Mr. President, I also like to move to the Commission on Appointments. We'd like to elect Senators Panfilo Lacson, Senator Mig Subiri, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Risa Hontiveros, Senator Tito Soto, Senator Raffy Tulfo, and Senator J.V. Ejercito, members of the Commission on Appointments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned senators are hereby elected.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to also move to elect Senators Bam Aquino, Senators Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Lapid, and Senator Escudero as members of the Senate Electoral Tribunal.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned senators are hereby elected.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I just ask for another minute suspension?
1 minute suspension.
Relations, where there are 17 members of the Senate who are members of this committee. I move, and me being the chairperson, Mr. President, that was elected last June 3, that I have retained the position as chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Relations, and that all members be made as members of the Foreign Relations, except for one on our part, Mr. President, with the permission of Senator Lito Lapid.
Does the committee have 17 members as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So the same
So
situation.
same
as the Blue
situation
Ribbon.
as Blue Ribbon?
Yes, Mr.
All right.
President. So we elect all members except for Senator Lapid as member of the Committee on Foreign Relations. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, also for the Committee on Science and Technology, I move that we elect the members, the chairperson being Senator Bam Aquino, the members being Senator J.V. Ercito, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Risa Ontiveros. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I'd like to also move to elect the members of the Committee on Justice, the chairperson being Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Vice Chairperson Senator Ping Lacson, and members Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Bam Aquino, and Senator Joel Villanueva.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And also like to designate, for the record, Senator Ping Lacson as one of the vice chairpersons of the Blue Ribbon Committee. I forgot to mention earlier.
So noted.
May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
1 minute suspension.
Francis Kiko Pangilinan.
Correct.
For the
Senator
record, Mr. President.
Pangilinan will represent the Senate in the JBC.
Mr. President, I move that we elect also members of the Committee on Rules. Mr. President, I move that we elect Senator J.V. Ercito, Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Joel Villanueva as members of the Rules Committee. Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we'd like to also elect the members of the Committee on Health and Demography, Mr. President. For the record, the chairperson is Senator Risa Ontiveros, Vice Chairperson Senator J.V. Ejercito, and the members, part of the majority, Senators Bam Aquino, Senators Kiko Pangilinan, Senators Rafi Tulfo, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Ping Lacson.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, we'd like to also move to elect the members of the Committee on Energy. The part of the chairperson is Senator Erwin Tulfo, the vice chairperson is Senator J.V. Ejercito, and the members are Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Rafi Tulfo. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, we'd like to also put on record the members of the Committee on Finance, Mr. President. Of course, the Committee on Finance is headed by the chairperson, Senator J.V. Ejercito. And with respect to the committee, each committee is composed of 20 members. So I move that all senators, with the exception of the Senate President and those serving in an ex officio capacity, be elected and designated as regular members of both committees. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I'd like to also elect the members of the National Defense, Security and Peace and Unification and Reconciliation Committee, Mr. President. The chairperson is Senator Tito Soto, our Senate President pro tempore. And same with the Finance Committee. There are 20 members. So I move that all senators, with the exception of the Senate President, those serving in an ex officio capacity, be elected and designated as members of the National Defense Committee. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
There's a request of course, there's a request by our chairperson that Senator Ejercito, J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Lacson be elected as the vice chairperson of the said committee.
So noted.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Women and Children Committee, Committee on Women and Children. The chairperson, of course, is Senator Risa Ontiveros. The vice chairperson is Senator J.V. Ejercito. And Senator Bam Aquino, Senators Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Ping Lacson. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move to elect the following members as the members of the Committee on Ways and Means. This chairperson is Senator Bam Aquino, and the members are Senator Pia Ontiveros, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Chis Escudero, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Joel, what did I say? Risa Ontiveros. What did I say? Ay, nako, wala pa si Pia, hindi pa siya senator. Senator Pia. Okay, my apologies, Mr. President. My apologies. The chairperson of the Ways and Means Committee is Senator Ping Lacson, Mr. President. And vice chair will be Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Francis Escudero, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Joel Villanueva. So moved.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is carried.
May I ask for another minute suspension?
Session suspended. Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges, the chairperson being Senate President Pro Tem Tito Soto, Vice Chairperson Senator Pangilinan, members Senator Raffy Tulfo, and Senator Lacson.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
I move that we elect members of the Committee on Public Services, Mr. President. The chairperson is Senator Raffy Tulfo, the Vice Chairperson, Senator J.V. Ejercito, and Vice Chairperson, Senator Bam Aquino. Members, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Local Government. It is headed by their chairperson, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Vice Chairperson, Senator Ping Lacson, members, Senator Raffy Tulfo, Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Lito Lapid, and Senator Bam Aquino. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Migrant Workers, headed by Senator Raffy Tulfo, Vice Chairperson Senator Joel Villanueva, members Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Kiko Pangilinan. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
May I ask for a minute suspension once again.
Session suspended.
allotted
Number of
ratio
seats.
natin, Mr. President. So, and I'd just like to reiterate the election of the JBC representatives pursuant to Article 8, Section 8 of the Constitution. I move to elect Senator Francis Pangilinan as the Senate representative to the Judicial and Bar Council. Vice Sen. Rodante Marcoleta. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Francis Pangilinan is hereby elected to the JBC.
Mr. President, I move that we elect, or rather, I move that we retain Senator Joel Villanueva as chairperson of the Committee on Higher Education. And his vice chairman will be Senator Ejercito, members Senator Bamakino, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Escudero. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And I'd like to make a correction. In the Committee on Games, it's not Senator Rafi Tulfo who's the vice chairperson. It is Senator Erwin Tulfo.
So noted.
My apologies to the chairperson. As regards to the CA membership, Mr. President, for the record, that this representation and that of Senator Soto are vice. We replace Senators Lito Lapid and Senator Mark Villar respectively, for the record, Mr. President.
Yeah, so noted.
Mr. President, we'd like to also elect the members of the Committee on Labor. Chairperson, Senator Joel Villanueva. Vice Chairperson, Senator J.V. Ejercito. And members, Senator Rafi Tulfo, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Pangilinan, and Senator Escudero, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And Mr. President, I move to formally elect as well my deputy majority floor leaders. We'd like to elect and move to elect Senators J.V. Ejercito as my senior deputy majority leader, who one day in the near future will become the majority leader, I hope, after his job in the Finance Committee, and this representation will just retire. We'd like to also elect, Mr. President, our former majority leader, Senator Joel Villanueva, as deputy majority floor leader.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May I ask for another minute suspension?
Session suspended.
So that we may proceed for third reading vote. And then the adoption of the resolution on Mindanao that will be authored by Senator Joel Villanueva. So we will just ask our members to please proceed to the plenary for third reading. Fine. Erwin and Senator Lito.
Okay.
Senator Erwin. So, Mr. President, I move that we consider on third reading several bills, printed copies of which have been electronically distributed to the senators on May 25 and May 26, 2026, in compliance with the 3-day rule of the Constitution. With that, Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2092, This is the bill declaring waling-waling as our national orchid, Mr. President. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of Senate Bill number 2092 on third reading is in order. The Secretary is directed to read the title of the bill.
An act declaring the waling-waling Vanda sanderiana as the national orchid of the Philippines.
And proceed with the roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri,
Yes.
Senate President Gatchalian.
Yes. With 13 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, SB number 2092 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider third reading House Bill number 6639. This is the bill granting Philippine citizenship to Benny Boatwright III. I so move.
Is there any objection? Consideration of House Bill number 6639 on third reading is in order. The Secretary is
And
directed.
before we proceed with the voting, Mr. President, I would just like to put on record, they were here 3 days straight in the last, before we ended the session, and I think they're back onto training. So I think it's okay that we elect them in absentia because they deserve it, Mr. President. They were here 3 days before we ended session.
Correct. In fairness to them, they were here present
Yes,
physically
both-
for 3
both,
days.
members,
it's not
both,
their fault that
gentlemen.
their citizenship was not considered last time. And I understand that they're now undergoing training
Yes.
and representing the country.
Yes.
Senator Kiko Pangilinan is recognized.
That is correct, Mr. President. They were here, a sponsor of the measure. They were here every day and witnessed the proceedings or the lack of proceedings. But then we will make arrangements, Mr. President, that when we when we convene for the SONA or perhaps that week of the SONA, that they come and visit us here in plenary, Mr. President. Both Benny Boatwright and Matt Ramos, Mr. President.
We take note of that.
So we move to
So,
proceed with the roll
yeah.
call vote, Mr. President.
The Secretary is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed with the roll call vote.
An act granting Philippine citizenship to Benny Francois Boatwright III. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, Senate President Gatchalian.
With 13 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6639 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to consider as well for third reading vote House Bill number 6644, the bill granting Philippine citizenship to Matthew James Ramos. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, consideration of House Bill number 6644 on third reading is in order. The Secretary is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed with the roll call vote.
An act granting Philippine citizenship to Matthew James Ramos. Roll call vote. Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, Senate President Gatchalian.
Yes. With 13 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6644 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Congratulations to the authors and sponsors of the three measures. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journals of the 68th and 69th session, May 26 and June 3, 2026, and consider the same as approved. I
Is
so
there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, Now we take up a very important measure that our dear colleague, distinguished former majority leader, had filed. I move that we consider proposed Senate Resolution number 447. And this is a resolution urging adequate funding for Mindanao earthquake relief and rehabilitation. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize a distinguished former majority floor leader, our deputy majority floor leader, no other than our distinguished colleague from Bulacan, Senator Joel Villanueva.
We recognize the distinguished gentleman from Bulacan.
Thank you very
Senator
much,
Villanueva.
Mr. President, our distinguished majority leader. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is an honor to rise before this August chamber to sponsor proposed Senate Resolution number 447, urging the national government to ensure adequate funding and resources for the relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery of communities devastated by the recent earthquake in Mindanao. Ginoong Pangulo, ang usapin po natin ngayon ay hindi lamang tungkol sa pondo. Ito po ay tungkol sa mga buhay na winasak ng lindol at sa ating tungkulin na tulungan ang ating mga kababayan na muli pong makabangon. Noong pong 8 ng Hunyo, isang magnitude 7.8 na lindol ang tumama malapit sa Sarangani Province. Sa loob lamang po ng ilang minuto, nagbago ang buhay ng daang-daang libong Pilipino. As of June 16, at least 68 lives have been lost. More than 1,000 have been injured and over 30 remain missing. Mahigit 1 milyong individual o higit 330,000 families ang naapektuhan, habang halos 19,000 pa rin ang nananatili sa evacuation centers. Ngunit higit pa po sa mga numerong ito ay ang mga kwento ng ating mga kababayan, mga pamilyang nawalan ng tahanan, mga batang hindi makapasok sa paaralan, mga manggagawa, mga magsasaka, mga mangingisda na nawalan ng kabuhayan at mga pamilyang nagdadalamhati sa pagkawala ng kanilang mahal sa buhay. Mr. President, Mindanao is a pillar of our national economy. Ito po ay mahalagang pinagmumulan ng pagkain, produktong agrikultura at yamang dagat. Kapag naapektuhan po ang Mindanao, nararamdaman po ito ng ating buong bansa. Initial assessments estimate at least 1.13 billion pesos in damage to public and private infrastructure. And that figure is expected to rise, Mr. President, as assessments continue. Nasira po ang mga tahanan, paaralan, ospital at iba pang mahalagang infrastruktura. Ngunit ang mas malaki pong hamon ay ang muling pagtatayo ng mga komunidad at pagbibigay ng bagong pag-asa sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya Ginoong Pangulo, sa pagkakataong ito, nais po nating makita, nais natin din pong kilalanin, lalo na ang ating mga rescue workers, health workers, uniformed personnel, volunteers, local officials at humanitarian organizations na wala pong sawang tumutulong sa mga nasalanta. Ngunit alam po natin, Ginoong Pangulo, alam natin na hindi po sapat ang bayanihan lamang. Heroism saves lives, but resources rebuild communities. Compassion comforts victims, but funding restores livelihoods. Kaya po kinakailangan nating tiyakin na ang lahat ng magagamit na pondo at suporta ng ating pamahalaan ay agad-agad na mapakilos upang mapabilis ang relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction at pagpapanumbalik ng kabuhayan sa mga apektadong lugar. Ginoong Pangulo, sa panahon po ng sakuna, nasusukat hindi lamang po ang tibay ng ating mga infrastruktura, kundi ang tibay ng ating pagkakaisa bilang isang bansa. Ngayon ang panahon upang patunayan na walang Pilipinong maiiwan. And for these reasons, Mr. President, I respectfully seek the support of our esteemed colleagues for the immediate adoption of this resolution. Marami pong salamat at pagpalain tayong lahat ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
Senator Erwin Tulfo is recognized, then Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
May we recognize as well Senator J.V. Ejercito to
And
sponsor.
Senator, we
And then
recognize,
after which, sorry.
yeah,
I
we
just-
recognize Senator JV first for his
Yes, I have the
co-sponsorship.
list. It's the Senator J.V. Ejercito, Mr. President. After that, Senator Kiko Pangilinan and Senator Erwin Tulfo. And Senator Raffy Tulfo after.
So we first recognize Senator JV Ejercito.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ginang Pangulo, mga kasamahan sa Senado at sa mga kababayan natin sa Mindanao, magandang umaga po. I rise today to co-sponsor proposed Senate Resolution number 447, a resolution urging the national government to take all necessary measures to ensure the availability of adequate funding and resources for the relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery of communities affected by the recent devastating earthquake in Mindanao. Through the resolution, the Senate joins the nation in mourning and honoring the lives lost during the devastating earthquake that hit our brothers and sisters in Mindanao, particularly the province of Sarangani, South Cotabato, Davao Occidental, and Davao del Sur. 68 deaths were reported by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, while 33 remain missing according to the latest reports made by the NDRRMC last Tuesday. Mr. President, ang mga buhay pong ito ay hindi numero lamang. These are lives and futures that were abruptly cut short by this disaster. Ang bawat isa sa kanila ay may pangalan, mayroong kwento, mayroong pangarap, at may mga mahal sa buhay na naiwan. Sila ay mga anak, asawa, kapatid, kaibigan, at mga mahal nating mga kababayan. Nakapanlulumo po ang mga larawan at video na nakita natin online. Ano pa kaya ang aktwal na pakiramdam at sitwasyon na dinadanas ng ating mga kababayan? Bilang magulang, nakakatakot isipin na malagay sa kaparehong sitwasyon ang aking mga anak. Nakita natin ang mga mag-aaral at mga guro na napuno ng takot habang niyayanig ng lindol ang kanilang paaralan. Nakita natin ang ilan nating kababayan na wala nang magawa kung hindi tignan na lamang ang pagguho ng mga gusali at negosyo na kanilang pinagtrabahuhan at ipinundar. Bukod sa mga buhay na nasayang, maraming bahay ang nasira at maraming kabuhayan ang naapektuhan at nawala. Mr. President, this tragedy is a painful reminder that the country is so vulnerable to disasters and calamities, and that we have so much work to do in terms of disaster preparedness. Lalo na nating nakita ang kahalagan ng matatag na infrastruktura at sistema ng pagpaplano sa pagsasaayos ng ating mga komunidad. Resilience should not just be expected from our constituents, but should mean that our infrastructure systems and responses can withstand the wrath of nature. Sa ilalim ng liderato ni Senate President Win Gatchalian, mabilis na nakapag-abot ng paunang tulong ang Senado sa mapaktadong komunidad. Subalit alam natin na hindi matatawaran ng kahit anong ayuda, donasyon o anumang halaga ang mga buhay na nawala at ang sakit ng trahedya na dinaranas ng mga naiwang pamilya. Kaya naman, nakikisa ko sa panawagan na sa pamamagitan ng Senate Resolution na ito ay tiyakin ng ating pamahalaan ang agaran at pangmatagalang suporta para sa rehabilitasyon at pagbangon ng Mindanao. Bigyan natin ng malalim na kahulugan ang mga nawalang buhay sa pamamagitan ng pagtiyak na ang naiwan ay muling makapagsisimula. Ginoong Pangulo, gagawin natin ang ating tungkulin dito sa Senado. Bilang inyong bagong halal na chairman ng Committee on Finance, titiyakin natin na mayroong nakalaang suporta upang maibalik ang kaayusan, seguridad at dignidad ng pamumuhay ng mga kapatid natin sa Mindanao na lubhang naapektuhan ng sakuna. Maraming pagsubok na ang dinaanan ng ating bansa, maraming bagyo, lindol at iba pang kalamidad. At pandemya ang sumubok sa tibay ng sambayanang Pilipino. Sa mga panahong mahirap para sa ating mga kababayan, ang pagbangon, ipakita natin na mayroon silang maasahan na gobyerno at mga namumuno. Lubos po tayo nakikiramay sa mga pamilyang nawalan at nakikisa tayo sa buong Mindanao sa panahong ito ng pagdadalamhati at pagbangon Mindanao. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Senator JV. We recognize Senator Erwin Kiko Pangilinan.
Thank you, Senate President Gatchalian. Dear colleagues, I rise to co-sponsor Senator Joel Villanueva's Senate Resolution number 447. In times of calamity, the Senate must speak as one. I commend Senator Joel Villanueva for his quick thinking and swift leadership on this resolution, which reflects the Senate's shared duty to help Mindanao recover, rebuild, and prosper. Strategic national priority ang mabilis at tuloy-tuloy na pagbangon ng Mindanao mula sa lindol noong Hunyo 8. Bakit? Dahil nasa Mindanao ang humigit kumulang 1/3 na pinakamahihirap nating mga kababayan, habang 40% ng food supply ng ating buong bansa ay galing dito. Pinakamalawak na produkto ng nyug, pinakamalawak na coconut farm sa buong Pilipinas ay nasa Mindanao. 40%, 30% of the national food trade comes from Mindanao. Food basket ng Pilipinas ang Mindanao. It is also one of our most dynamic growth frontiers. Maraming mga tahanan, paaralan, ospital, kalsada, tulay, mga sistema ng kuryente at tubig at iba pang mahalagang infrastruktura ang nasira sa Davao Region at Soc-Sargen. Kung hindi ito agad-agad at sapat na matutugunan, mas lalaki ang pinsalang dulot sa agrikultura, pangingisda, logistics at mga lokal na negosyo. Tatagal ang paghihirap ng mga apektadong pamilya at malalagay rin sa alanganin ang pambansang seguridad sa pagkain at katatagan ng ating ekonomiya. Ang Senate Bill number 2259 ng inyong lingkod naglalaan ng 15 billion pesos in supplemental funding. Nilalayon nito na maibalik ang mahahalagang serbisyong pampubliko, maisaayos at mapatatag ang mga kritikal na pasilidad at may bangon ang kabuhayan ng ating mga magsasaka, mangingisda, manggagawa, maliliit na negosyo, lahat lubhang apektado ng lindol. Sa pagsuporta ng PS Resolution number 447 ni Senator Joel at sa ating Senate Bill 2259, pinagtitibay ng Senado na nasa interes ng buong Pilipinas ang pagbangon ng Mindanao. Dahil pagprotekta ito sa ating sistema ng pagkain, pangangalaga sa mga trabaho at pagpapatatag at pagpapabagsak o baba ng presyo ng mga bilihin. Sa sama-sama nating pagkilos, bubuo tayo ng isang Mindanao na mas matatag, mas ligtas at mas handa, gayon din ng buong bansa. Kaysa natin ang ating mga kababayan sa Mindanao at hindi natin iiwan ang mga kababayan natin dito. Maraming salamat. And again, maraming salamat kay Senator Joel for sponsoring this measure.
We recognize the gentleman from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to express my full support and to formally manifest my co-sponsorship of the Senate Resolution number 447, which urges the government to take all necessary measures to assist the people of Mindanao following the recent earthquake that has caused significant damage to lives, homes, infrastructure, and livelihoods. In times of calamity, it is our duty as public servants to ensure that affected communities receive immediate, adequate assistance. The earthquake has brought hardship and uncertainty to many families, underscoring the need for a swift, coordinated, and comprehensive response from all concerned agencies. Through this resolution, we reaffirm our commitment to mobilizing relief efforts, providing emergency assistance, restoring essential services, and supporting the long-term recovery and rehabilitation affected areas. We also recognize the resilience of the people of Mindanao and stand in solidarity with them as they rebuild their communities. It is imperative that the national government, together with local government units and relevant stakeholders, work closely to address the urgent needs of those affected and to strengthen disaster preparedness and response mechanism to mitigate the impact of future calamities. Ginong Pangulo at mga kasamahan, ito po yung sinasabi ko noon pa at paulit-ulit ko na sinasabi. Isantabi po natin ang ating mga personal or group interest. Alang-alang po
sa mas nakakarami sa atin. We commend Senator Joel Villanueva for coming in today to file this resolution for the victims of the Mindanao quake. Thank you, Senator Joel Villanueva, for this resolution. For this reason, I wholeheartedly support and co-sponsor Senate Resolution number 447, Mr. President, and urge its immediate adoption. Thank you and good morning.
Any more, Majority Leader? Any more, Senator Rafi? Yeah. While waiting for Senator Rafi, let me commend the resolution filed by Senator Joel Villanueva, PS Resolution 447. Ito po ay napapanahon dahil po yung naranasan ng Mindanao, particularly Sarangani and Jensan, ay isa sa pinakamalakas na lindol na naranasan po ng ating bansa. At marami pong infrastruktura na nasira doon. Nakita ho namin ni Senator Erwin, Senator JV at Senator Migs. At marami rin pong nasawi na buhay. At kami po ay nakikiramay at nakikiisa po sa mga kababayan ho natin sa Jensan, Sarangani at sa lahat pong ng lugar na tinamaan po ng lindol. At kaya po nagbibigay-pugay ho kami kay Senator Joel dahil ito pong resolusyon ay nagdedirekta ng mabilis na action at mabilis po na pag-release ng pondo para po makatulong po sa mga kababayan natin sa Mindanao. With that, we recognize Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Mr. President, colleagues, I rise today to express my strong support for Senator Joel Villanueva Senate Resolution 447 and 452 concerning the recent 7.8 earthquakes which struck Mindanao last June 8, 2026. Hindi basta numero mga biktima ng lindol o anumang kalamidad. Sila po ay mga pamilyang nawala ng mga mahal sa buhay, tahanan at kabuhayan. The people of Mindanao have shown remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. Ngunit hindi sapat ang katatagan lamang. Hindi natin maaaring iasa sa tibay ng loob ng ating mga kababayan ang kanilang pagbangon. Kailangan nila ang agarang tulong at buong suporta ng pamahalaan upang muling maitayo ang kanilang mga buhay at komunidad. These resolutions recognize the urgent need to assess the full extent of the damage, ensure the relief and rehabilitation efforts are delivered efficiently, and identify measures that will strengthen the preparedness of our community against future disasters. Kasabay po nito, kinikilala natin rin ang kabayanihan ng ating mga rescue workers, medical teams at frontliners na nagbuwis ng oras at lakas upang pangunahan ang ating recovery efforts. For these reasons, I express my support, again, for Senate Resolution 447 and 452, and urge my colleagues to continue working together to ensure that the affected communities receive the assistance, rehabilitation, and protection that they deserve. May we continue to pray for their rehabilitation and for the continued safety of all our kababayans. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the co-sponsorship speech. Majority Leader, any more
Thank you very much, Mr.
co-sponsorship?
President. With that, no other members wish to sponsor the measure. I move that all members present be made co-sponsors, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved and all senators are made co-sponsors of this bill.
Yes, Mr. President. Those are present today. Mr. President, I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 447. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, proposed resolution 447 is hereby adopted, subject to style.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we would like to thank Senator Joel Villanueva for filing this measure. Kami po sa Mindanao ay nagpapasalamat po sa kanya sa malasakit po niya sa amin sa Mindanao. Maraming po salamat kay Senator Joel. With that, Mr. President, I move to also take up proposed Senate Resolution number 452 and ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure.
Resolution expressing the profound gratitude of the Senate of the Philippines to the rescue workers, social welfare and healthcare personnel, local government units, uniformed services, civil volunteer groups, and all humanitarian responders for providing swift life-saving assistance to affected communities in the aftermath of the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck Mindanao.
Health workers. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, you are the sponsor
Yes,
of the
Mr.
measure,
Pre-
Mr. President. Do you wish to?
Yes, Mr.
sponsor
President,
or-
I will just, Majority Leader, I will just insert my sponsorship speech for this resolution. Pero ito po ay simpleng pasasalamat sa ating mga frontliners, sa DSWD, in particular the Armed Forces of the Philippines who provided logistical support sa mga sinalanta po ng lindol. Kaya po ito ay isang pasasalamat sa lahat po ng frontliners natin. Kasama na rin po yung LGUs. Na talagang kaagad rumisponde sa pinsala ng lindol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pero meron na po tayong mga kasamahan. Mr. President, with your permission and permission of the body, would like to give short sponsorship speeches.
Yes.
May we recognize Senator J.V. Ejercito? He'll also insert to the records his sponsorship speech. And we'd like to recognize Senator Erwin Tulfo.
We recognize Senator Erwin Tulfo for his co-sponsorship speech.
Mr. President, colleagues, I rise today to manifest my support and co-sponsorship on Senate Resolution number 452, expressing the profound gratitude of the Senate to rescue workers, social welfare, healthcare personnel, local government units, uniformed services, civil volunteer groups, at sa lahat po ng humanitarian responders sa government man o sa pribadong kumpanya. Marami po akong nabalitaan na may mga private companies po. Yung iba po galing sa mga mining corporations na nagpadala po ng kanilang workers para tumulong po sa paghahanap sa mga natabunan ng mga gumuhong gusali. Therefore, Mr. President, this resolution would like to express my support to thank all those involved, including the local government units who were there at the very first instance, the first responders to go around to check their constituents. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, muli, nagpapasalamat ho kami sa ngalan po ng Senado. Nagpapasalamat ho kami sa ating mga rescue workers, social welfare and healthcare personnel, local government units, uniform services, kasama na po ang Armed Forces of the Philippines, civil volunteer groups, and all humanitarian responders. Maraming salamat po.
Yes, maraming salamat po, Mr. President. Some, of course, special mention po yung Red Cross, Philippine
yes,
Red Cross, kung
of
saan po
course.
tayo ay membro bilang governors, Board of Governors of the Philippine Red
Na
Cross.
pinangungunahan po ni
And,
Chairman Dick Gordon.
Chairman Dick Gordon for his speedy action, always ready, always there, always first, always ready, always there, na Red Cross, headed by Senator Dick Gordon. We'd like to thank them. So with that, Mr. President, I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 452. I so move, Mr.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, proposed resolution 452 is hereby adopted, subject to style.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have a few bills that we can take up on the floor. Maybe we can just take this up already. We have to show our kababayans that we are working. We are going to pass several measures today. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration on Senate Bill number 1990 under Committee Report number 52. I so move, Mr. President. This is for a period of, it's in the period of amendments, this measure.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
The measure is sponsored by our chairman, the Committee on Agriculture, Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan. This is an act ensuring the development and promotion and protection of agricultural and fisheries cooperatives. Magandang panukala po ito, Mr. President. I move that we recognize the sponsor and we'll also recognize Senator
I will introduce his.
He already gave the amendment.
Yes.
So the amendments of Senator Joel are already with Senator Pangilinan. May we recognize the good sponsor, Mr. President?
We recognize the gentleman from Pampanga, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, as earlier manifested, we are in the period of amendments. Only Senator Joel Villanueva has introduced amendments, and therefore we can proceed on Section 11, other benefits and privileges of agriculture co-ops. This is on page 9. Between lines 9 and 10, we insert the following proviso. Provided that the continued enjoyment of tax and fiscal incentives shall be subject to compliance with the assessment and rating system established under Section 21 of this Act, including standards on governance, financial transparency, member benefit distribution, and actual productive agriculture activity. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. Another amendment of Senator Villanueva is Section 14, creation of the Bureau of Agriculture Cooperatives. On page 11, lines 22 and 23, delete the proviso and replace it with the following. Provided that the department shall, in coordination with the CDA and concerned local government units and subject to budgetary availability and applicable laws, establish a needs-based staffing framework for cooperative development officers based on agriculture population, geographic need, cooperative density, and other relevant development indicators, with priority given to the underserved and strategically significant agriculture areas. And therefore, the second paragraph of Section 14 will now read, it shall be a line bureau and headed by a bureau director. Its organizational and staffing pattern shall be determined by the department in consultation with the Department of Budget and Management, provided that the department shall, in coordination with the CDA and concerned local government units and subject to budgetary availability and applicable laws, establish a needs-based staffing framework for co-op development officers based on population, geographic needs, cooperative density, and other relevant development indicators with priority given to underserved and strategically significant agriculture areas. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. We proceed to Section 15, Powers and Functions of the Bureau of Agriculture Co-ops. On page 12, between line 19 and 20, insert a new paragraph to read, the Bureau shall exercise its powers and functions in a manner complementary to and not duplicative of the powers and functions of the CDA under applicable laws. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Mr. President, Section 30, implementing rules and regulations, the amendment will be on page 17, deletes line 9 to 12 and replace them with the following. Section 30, implementing rules and regulations. The rules and regulations necessary for the effective and efficient enforcement of the provisions of this Act shall be formulated by the Department and the CDA in coordination with the relevant government agencies and in consultation with the LGUs, agriculture cooperatives, farmers and fisher folk organizations, and other stakeholders, and shall be implemented within 90 days from the effectivity of this Act. Unjustified or willful failure or refusal of the concerned government agencies to promulgate the implementing rules and regulations, IRR, within the specified period shall subject the heads of these government agencies to administrative penalties under applicable civil service laws. And third paragraph, should the IRR contain provisions that are contrary to this Act, the heads of government agencies responsible for such provision when done in bad faith or with gross negligence shall be held administratively liable. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
And finally, Mr. President, Section 32, Annual Reports. The amendment is on page 17 between lines 23 and 24 to insert a new paragraph to read, to promote transparency and accountability, the Bureau shall maintain and regularly update a publicly accessible digital registry containing relevant information on accredited agriculture cooperatives, including their ratings, incentives and benefits received, procurement awards, grants, and compliance status subject to applicable data privacy laws. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no other proposed amendments for Senate Bill 1990. With the permission of our majority leader, if we can move to terminate the period of amendments.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, there being no other members who wish to amend the measure further, I move that we close the period of amendments. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments is hereby closed.
Mr. President, with that, I move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 1990 under Committee Report number 52.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill number 1990 is hereby approved on second reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Move to suspend consideration of the measure.
Consideration is hereby suspended.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of a bicameral conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1894 and House Bill number 8476, or the amendments to the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, which has been filed with the Bills and Index last June 3, 2026, and was ratified by the House of Representatives on the same date. Mr. President, I move that we approve and ratify the said conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1894 and House Bill number 8476, and the text of the joint explanation be deemed read into the records of the chamber. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. The conference committee report is approved and ratified.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And Mr. President, yes, Mr. President. May we recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Joel Villanueva.
We recognize the
for
gentleman
his,
from Bulacan,
manifestation.
Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yeah, Mr. President, just to give a very short manifestation on the ratification of the BICAM report on enhancing universal access to quality tertiary education. Mr. President, dear colleagues, it is with great privilege that we rise today to express our strong support for the ratification of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1894 and House Bill number 8476, otherwise known as the Act Enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education. We again extend our warmest gratitude to our fellow conferees in the Senate and our counterparts in the House of Representatives, especially Chairperson Lauren Legarda. As one of the co-authors one of the authors and co-sponsors of this particular measure, Mr. President, we welcome the improvements introduced to this legislation and remain hopeful that these amendments will further strengthen RA number 10931, or the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. More importantly, we trust that these reforms will remain faithful to the original spirit and intent of the law, a landmark measure that we, together with some of our colleagues here, including our Senate President, envisioned during its passage to make higher education more accessible to every deserving Filipino learner, especially those who face the greatest economic barriers. This measure responds directly, Mr. President, to that challenge by granting prioritization of eligibility to the tertiary education subsidy for enrolled students from the 4Ps or Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program households in recognized higher education institutions and technical vocational institutions. We are helping, Mr. President, ensure that financial hardship does not stand in the way of educational opportunity. So ultimately, Mr. President, this measure advances our collective goal of building a more equitable and inclusive education system. It strengthens the country's commitment to supporting learners not only in gaining access to tertiary education, but also in successfully completing it and realizing their full potential. Again, Mr. President, for these reasons, we wholeheartedly support the ratification of this BICAM report. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. At,
Thank you, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you very much, sir, Deputy Majority Floor Leader. Thank you, sir. With that, I move to consider Senate Bill number 1991 under Committee Report number 53. I so move, Mr.
Is
President.
there objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
This is an act strengthening the National Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System to accelerate agriculture and fisheries development, Mr. President. The sponsor of this measure is Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and may we recognize the sponsor and to amend Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yeah, we recognize the sponsor, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Joel for his amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. if I may, Mr. President, with the permission of our chairperson, on page 5, this representation would like to propose that we delete lines 24 and 25 and replace them with the following. The roadmap shall contain, among others, measurable performance indicators, annual implementation targets, monitoring and evaluation mechanisms, periodic review provisions, and annual projected budgetary requirements, including the establishment of the local development hub. The rationale, Mr. President, is that this proposed amendment strengthens the second paragraph of Section 6 by expanding the required contents of the roadmap to promote accountability, guide implementation, and ensure measurable outcomes in the delivery of agricultural and fisheries extension programs. I submit to the wisdom of our chairperson. Your
What
Honor.
does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 6, line 9, after the word act and before the period, insert the following. And other applicable laws, and without diminution of vested rights, benefits, and security of tenure of affected personnel. So the paragraph, Mr. President, will now read as follows. The Secretary is also authorized to reorganize the department's internal offices to determine if existing ones, in the interest of economy and efficiency, need to be integrated into the establishment of the BAX, subject to the provisions of Republic Act number 12231 or the Government Optimization Act and other applicable laws, and without diminution of vested rights, benefits, and security of tenure of affected personnel. I so move, Mr. President, if it is acceptable to our
What
dear
does the
colleagues.
sponsor say?
Wholeheartedly accepted, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, on page 7, between lines 10 and 11, insert a new paragraph. The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, shall assist the BAEX in the development and implementation of technical, vocational, competency-based, and certification programs for AEWs, farmers, and fisherfolk, consistent with its mandate and subject to existing laws, rules, and regulations. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? What does the sponsor say?
If it is accepted.
Yes, being the test naman, Mr. President, we accept fully and wholeheartedly this amendment.
Any objection? Hearing none, the amendment is approved.
Thank you again, Mr. President, to our sponsor. On page 10, line 14, after the period, insert the following sentence. For this purpose, the BAEX shall submit to the COCAFAM an annual report on the implementation of this act, including fund utilization, performance outcomes, progress in achieving the targets under the roadmap, and key implementation challenges. I submit to the wisdom of the chairperson.
What does the
Accepted,
sponsor say?
accepted, Mr. President.
Thank you again, Mr.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Mr. President, last but not the least, on page 10, delete lines 15 to 21 and replace them with the following. Section 19, implementing rules and regulations. The rules and regulations necessary for the effective and efficient enforcement of the provisions of this act shall be formulated by the department in coordination with the CHED, relevant national government agencies, LGUs, SUCs, and private sector, the private sector, farmers and fisherfolk organizations, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders, and shall be implemented within 90 days from the effectivity of this act. The IRR shall include, among others, the phased implementation of the transition from the ATI to the BAEX, personal transition mechanisms, asset and resource transfer procedures, institutional coordination protocols, qualification standards, and safeguards to ensure the uninterrupted delivery of agricultural and fisheries extension services. Unjustified or willful failure or refusal of the concerned agencies to promulgate the implementing rules and regulations, IRR, within the specified period shall subject shall subject the heads of these government agencies to administrative penalties under applicable civil service laws. Should the IRR contain provisions that are contrary to this act, the head of the government agencies responsible for such provision, when done in bad faith or with gross negligence, shall be held administratively liable. I submit, Mr.
What
President.
does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is carried.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We'd like to put on record our sincerest thanks and gratitude to our distinguished sponsor of the measure. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, dear colleague.
We would like to thank Senator Joel for his amendments. Mr. President, with the permission of the majority leader, we just have a few more amendments for this measure.
Please proceed.
Yes, Section 4, creation of the Bureau of Agriculture Extension, BAEX, first paragraph, on page 3, line 27, between the words agriculture and extension, insert the phrase and fisheries. And on the same line, delete the acronym BAEX and replace with the acronym BAFEX. This shall be an omnibus amendment in the bill to reflect the name of the new DA Bureau, which is the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Extension, or BAFEX. The first paragraph of Section 4 as amended shall now read as follows. Creation of the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Extension, BAFEX. The Agriculture Training Institute is hereby transformed and strengthened into the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Extension, hereinafter referred to as the BAFEX. It shall be a line bureau in the Department of Agriculture under the supervision of the Undersecretary for Operations. As a line bureau, it shall maintain physical offices at the national, regional, provincial, and municipal levels. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
On the same Section 4, second paragraph, on page 4, line 4, after the word section, delete the number 8 and replace with number 9. And it shall now read as follows. The BAFEX shall be headed by a bureau director with 2 assistant directors at the national level who shall head the Technical Services and Administration and Finance Service. Technical Service and Administration and Finance Service, respectively. It shall further be comprised of such other personnel nationwide as indicated in the plantilla under Section 9. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Section 9, plantilla of BAFEX personnel. First paragraph. On page 6, line 25 to 31. Starting from the word agriculture, on line 25, delete the rest of the paragraph ending with the word country on line 31 and replace with the following. Director, Provincial Agriculture Extension Officer, Assistant PAEO, and Agriculture Extension Workers, AEWs. The department shall provide the details of the plantilla reflecting a minimum of 3 AEWs in every municipality in the country. The first paragraph of Section 9 shall now read as follows. Section 9, plantilla of BAFEX personnel. There shall be a plantilla of positions in the BAFEX, namely Bureau Director, 2 Assistant Directors, Regional Director, Provincial Agriculture Extension Officer, PAEO, Assistant PAEO, and Agriculture Extension Workers, AEWs. The department shall provide the details of the plantilla reflecting a minimum of 3 AEWs in every municipality in the country. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Section 9, third paragraph. On page 7, delete the entire paragraph on lines 5 and 6 and replace with the following paragraph. The basic salary grade for Agriculture 1 shall be salary grade 13 in the government salary grade scale, consistent with Republic Act 12215 or the Philippine Agriculturist Act. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
Mr. President, on page 7, delete lines 15 to 16 and replace with agriculture officers, workers shall be entitled to appropriate representation allowance and traveling allowance, RATA, in accordance with existing regulations. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
The penultimate amendment, Section 16 on appropriations, first paragraph on page 9, line 25. After the word for, delete the word personal and replace with personnel. The first paragraph of Section 16 shall now read as follows. Section 16, appropriation for the first year of implementation of this act the amount of 10 billion pesos shall be appropriated for personnel services and operation and capital budget requirements of BAFEX. It shall be sourced out of the total budget of the department. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved.
And finally, on the title of the bill, the following, the omnibus amendment approved earlier. The title shall now read as follows. An act strengthening the National Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System to accelerate agriculture and fisheries development, creating the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Extension, BAFEX, and appropriating funds therefore. Subject to style, Mr. President, so moved.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendment is approved, subject to style.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no other amendments. With the permission of the Majority Leader, I move to terminate the period of amendments.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With that, no other member wishes to make any further amendments. I move to close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments hereby closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 1991 under Committee Report number 53.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill number 1991 is hereby approved on second reading.
Please double. Thank you, Mr. President. Move to suspend
Thank
consideration.
you,
of the
Mr.
measure.
President.
Consideration of Senate Bill number 1991 is hereby suspended.
And we'd like to congratulate the distinguished colleague for that. Mr. President, I move, finally, we'll take up one more bill and one sponsorship of another bill, and then we can suspend for the CA. And then we'll take up the other bills this afternoon when we come back, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1905 under Committee Report number 35. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
This measure, Mr. President, is for all our barangay health workers. We were in the ground during the earthquake, and we saw all the first responders were actually barangay health workers
Correct.
helping our people. We promised them, Mr. President, we will pass this, and therefore I would like to recognize, sponsor Senator Risa Ontiveros for their finalizing our amendments on this measure, Mr. President. By the way, for the record, Mr. President, we passed this already in the last Congress. So it's just a matter of passing this once again in this Congress.
Thank you,
Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Majority Leader. We recognize the gentle lady from Panay, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, there are no more committee amendments and no colleague has submitted individual amendments for proposal today. So, with the indulgence of the body, Mr. President, if the body will kindly allow, and in the light also of what the Majority Leader has said, na actually round 2 na po ito ng mga barangay health workers sa buong Pilipinas since the previous or 19th Congress. If the body will allow, Mr. President, I respectfully move with the indulgence of the Majority Leader that the body closes the period of amendment on Senate Bill number 1905, Mr. President.
Yes. This is actually the second time around this bill
Yes,
came
Mr.
to the floor.
President.
Yes, Mr.
And
President.
last time we actually approved it. Unfortunately, hindi ho siya natuloy. No? So
Yes.
with that, Senator Erwin is raising his hands. We recognize Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Just a short manifestation, Mr. President, Madam Chair, our sponsor. Kailangan na po siguro talaga nating ipasaho ito. Kailangan po dahil ito po ay ang ating po mga barangay health workers, mga first responders. Ito po nakita natin nung nagdaang earthquake sa Mindanao, sila po ang nauna. Ang mga barangay health workers po natin, ginagamot po yung may mga sugat at nag-iikot po sa iba't ibang barangay. Doon po sa Sarangani, doon po sa General Santos City. At hindi lang po sa lugar na yan, kundi sa iba't ibang panig ng ating bansa na kapag tinamaan po ng mga unos, kalamidad, sila po ang unang-unang mga rumiresponde sa mga bahay-bahay. So, I believe it is high time that we must pass this Senate bill alang-alang po sa kanila. And it is our way of saying thank you for your service. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Thank you for that,
Maraming salamat, Madam Sponsor.
Thank you for that manifestation, Senator Erwin. I believe last night was Senator JV who sponsored this bill. No, kaya ho,
That's
dumaan
right,
na ho
Mr.
to sa maraming debate at sa wakas, nandito tayo ulit para aprubahan.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With that, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of amendments hereby closed.
Salamat, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 1905 under Committee Report number 35. So
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill number 1905 is hereby approved on second reading.
Mr. President, I move congratulations.
Congratulations to the sponsor.
The barangay health workers and the
Majority.
sponsor,
Salamat,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
President.
Congratulations. And to the Senate. Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
The consideration of the aforementioned bill is hereby suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed to reference of business, short reference of business.
The Senate Secretary is directed to read the reference of business.
Reference to business, message from the House of Representatives, letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 June 2026, it passed the following House bills in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate. House number A389, an act prohibiting political dynasties in national and local elective offices.
Referred to the Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation and Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes.
House number 9466, an act converting the National Feeding Program into a National Nutrition Program by expanding its scope and coverage and enhancing its support mechanisms, appropriating funds therefore, amending RA 11037 or the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act.
Referred to the Committees on Basic Education, Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Committee Report 71, jointly by the Committees on Basic Education, Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, and Finance on Senate number 2272, with Senators Tulfo R, Pangilinan, Marcos, Estrada, Villanueva, Lapid, Villar M, Aquino, Ejercito, Tulfo E, and Villar C as authors. An act strengthening and expanding the National Nutrition Program, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11037, otherwise known as the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, appropriating funds therefore, recommending approval in substitution of Senate numbers 87, 219, 431, 902, 1145, 1192, 1207, 1312, 1375, 1471, and 1767. Sponsor, Senator Aquino.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader. Oo nga. Pwede rin na.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we recognize our distinguished sponsors of the measure, we'd just like to welcome also to the plenary our dear colleagues from the House of Representatives, members of the Commission on Appointments.
We welcome our colleagues from the Commission on Appointments,
Excited na po
particularly
sila.
our
Excited na po sila.
counterparts from the House of Representatives.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We welcome them with open arms to their House of or to the Senate, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we transfer to the calendar ordinary business special orders. Senate Bill number, it's not in my list,
2272.
2272. Mr. President, I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Bill number 2272 and ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Consideration of Senate Bill number 2272 is in order.
Under Committee Report number 71, Mr. President.
Under Committee Report 71, the Secretary is directed to read only the title of the bill without prejudice to inserting into the records the whole text thereof.
An act strengthening, expanding the National Nutrition Program, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11037, otherwise known as the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, appropriating funds therefore.
Mr. President, we recognize the sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, to sponsor the
We
measure.
recognize the gentleman from Tarlac, Senator Bam Aquino.
Mr. President, mga kasama, magandang araw po sa ating lahat. The Committee on Basic Education is pleased to present Senate Bill number 2272 under Committee Report number 71, which seeks to amend Republic Act 11037 or the Masustansyang Pagkain parang sa Batang Pilipino Act. Nais po natin pasalamatan ang ating mga kasamahan sa komite, ang EDCOM 2 at ang iba't ibang ahensya na katuwang natin sa pagsulong ng panukalang ito. Sa lahat po, ng mga pangyayari sa Senado sa nakaraang buwan. Ang reformang ito na para sa kabataang nangangailangan at para sa kabataang nagugutom ang isa po sa nakapanghihinayang po talaga na naantala ng ilang linggo. Mr. President, mahalagang tugunan po ang matagal ng issue ng stunting sa kabataang Pilipino. Ayon po sa ulat ng EDCOM 2, sa loob ng 20 taon mula year 2000 hanggang 2020, nananatili ang problema ng stunting sa ating kabataan. Currently, 26.7% of Filipino children under 5 years old are stunted. Ibig sabihin po, isa sa bawat 4 na kabataan ay hindi naaabot ang kanilang tunay na potensyal. They will carry the lifelong burden of undernutrition. Hindi po natin malulutas ang krisis sa edukasyon kung hindi po natin tututukan ang isa sa mga ugat nito, ang kakulangan sa nutrisyon na nagsisilbing hadlang upang epektibong matuto ang mga estudyanteng Pilipino. Ang ating pong panukala ngayon ay hindi lamang isang feeding program. Ito po ay reforma sa edukasyon, isa pong public health strategy at isa pong hakbang sa pagpapaunlad ng human capital ng ating bansa. Meron pong matatag na ugnayan sa pagitan ng nutrisyon at edukasyon. Ang isang gutom na bata ay hindi makakapag-focus. Ang isang malnourished na utak ay nahihirapan na maalala ang pinag-aralan sa eskwelahan. Ang expanded National Nutrition Program na ito ay tutugon sa isa sa pinakamalaking reformang kinakailangan ng ating sistema sa edukasyon. Noong ating pong unang termino, tayo rin po yung nag-sponsor ng RA 11037. Ngunit sa halos isang dekada ng implementasyon, nakita rin po natin ang mga gap o puwang sa sistema. Our goal today is to bridge those gaps through 3 major reforms. Una po, sa ilalim ng ating bagong expanded National Nutrition Program, magkakaroon ng life stage approach mula sa tamang nutrisyon ng buntis na mga nanay hanggang sa mga sanggol, sa mga toddler, hanggang sa mga school-age children, hanggang sa mga kabataan sa high school. Ibig sabihin po, sa lahat ng essential developmental stages ng ating kabataan, meron pong masustansyong pagkain para sa mga nangangailangan. Ginagawa rin po nating universal ang feeding para sa lahat ng batang nasa kinder to grade 3. Ibig sabihin po, lahat ng mga bata sa kinder to grade 3 sa ating public school ay makakakuha ng masustansyang pagkain. Isa po ito sa pinakamahalagang hakbang at pinakamalaking reforma para tugunan ang krisis sa nutrisyon at sisiguraduhin po natin na tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aalaga. Pangalawa, malinaw na accountability at data governance. Nililinaw rin po ng panukalang ito ang mga tungkulin ng DOH, DSWD, DepEd, NNC, DILG at iba't iba pang mga ahensyang patungo sa nutrisyon ng ating kabataan. Sa pamamagitan po nito, maiiwasan ang overlap at masisigurado na may nakatutok sa nutrisyon ng bata sa bawat edad. Sisimulan din po ang isang Universal Health Record or UHR. Sa pamamagitan ng tama at updated na data tungkol sa nutrition, mas madali rin pong matututukan at mababantayan ang paglaki ng bawat bata mula barangay hanggang sa paaralan. Pangatlo po, ang pag-uugnay sa lokal na produksyon. Isa pong pinaglaban din po ni Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Ang pagtugon sa malnutrition ay tugon din po sa kahirapan ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda, ang ating food producers. Bibigyan natin ng prioridad ang freshly prepared hot meals at local procurement. Sa pamamagitan po ng diretsong pagbili sa mga lokal na magsasaka at mangingisda, sisiguro rin po natin ang kanilang kabuhayan. Kaya po yung budget para sa nutrition ay pwede rin pong magsilbing budget para sa ating lokal na agrikultura. Tulad din po ng ating Classroom Building Acceleration Program or CAP-ACT, maaaring bigyan ng suporta ang mga LGU na merong effective na feeding or nutrition programs. Sila po'y maaaring magkaroon ng bahagi ng pambansang pondo upang maipatupad ang mga nutrition program nila sa kanilang sariling lugar. Mga President, Mr. President, mga kasama, ang nutrition po ay isang long-term investment para sa ating human capital at ekonomiya. Ang mga batang malusog ay mas may pagkakataong magtagumpay sa paaralan, maging produktibong bahagi ng ating workforce at makapag-ambag sa pag-unlad ng ating bansa. Nagbibigay din ang batas na ito ng karagdagang suporta para sa mga vulnerable sectors tulad ng indigenous learners, mga nasa GAIDA or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, mga batang may kapansanan at mga buntis na mag-aaral. Gaya po ng iba nating mga reforma sa edukasyon, inaasahan ko po ang inyong suporta upang masiguro na wala ng batang Pilipino ang uuwi na gutom o mahihirapang mag-aral dahil sa kubukulong sikmura. Simulan po natin ang pag-unlad ng ating bansa sa pinakapundasyon, isang batang Pilipinong busog, malusog, at handang matuto. Maraming salamat, Mr. President, mga kasama. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Senator Bam, at maraming salamat at meron tayong ganitong batas para pumalutas po natin ang malnutrisyon sa ating bansa. At maraming salamat at binibigyan mo ng importansya ang kalusugan ng ating mga mag-aaral.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of our principal authors and sponsors would like to also sponsor. We recognize distinguished colleague Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yeah, we recognize Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished Majority Leader. Ginoong Pangulo, distinguished colleagues, it is an honor to co-sponsor Senate Bill number 2272 or the Expanded National Nutrition Program Act, strengthening and expanding Republic Act number 11037 or the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act. As one of the authors of this particular measure, having filed Senate Bill number 1145, we'd like to put on record our sincerest thanks and gratitude to the sponsor of the measure, our chairperson, Senator Bam Aquino, for pushing for this timely amendments to the law. Ginoong Pangulo, kapag po ang isang batang Pilipino ay pumapasok sa paaralan na wala pong laman ang sikmura, hindi lang po tiyan ang walang laman, unti-unti rin pong nauubos ang kanyang pag-asa. Because before a child can dream, before a child can learn, before a child can succeed, he needs to be fed and nourished. According to UNICEF, Mr. President, nearly 1 in every 3 Filipino children under 5 years old is chronically malnourished. Sa BARM nga po, umaabot pa raw po sa 45.2% ang stunting rate ng mga bata. Mas mataas pa po ito, Ginoong Pangulo, sa nakakaalarma ng 28.8% na stunting rate ng buong bansa. Habang tayo po ay narito ngayon sa bulwagang ito, may batang Pilipinong pumapasok sa paaralan na tubig lang ang laman ng kanyang tiyan. May batang hirap na mag-concentrate sa klase dahil siya po ay gutom. At may mga magulang na pinipiling huwag kumain para lang may maihain naman para sa kanilang mga anak. Mr. President, the 2022 PISA results also showed that more than 1/3 Filipino students reported not eating at least once a week because of financial hardship. Hindi po simpleng statistics ito, Ginoong Pangulo. Mukha po ito o mukha po iyan ng batang nahihilo sa classroom. Mukha po yan ng batang unti-unting na pag-iiwanan. Hence, Mr. President, we fully support this measure which recognizes that hunger is not merely a food problem. It is an education problem. It is a health problem. It is a poverty problem. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the true measure of a nation is how it treats its children. Kung gusto po nating magkaroon ng matatag na ekonomiya, dekalidad na edukasyon at produktibong mamamayan, magsimula po tayo sa pinakapayak ngunit pinakamahalagang pangangailangan, ang masustansyang pagkain. Kaya naman po sa panukalang batas na ito ay laban po ito sa kontragutom, laban kontra gutom, laban kontra stunting, laban kontra kahirapan at laban para sa kinabukasan ng bawat batang Pilipino. Naniniwala po tayo, Ginoong Pangulo, na kapag busog ang bata, mas malakas at mas ganado po siyang mangarap. Mas handa po siyang matuto at mas handa po siyang lumaban sa buhay. At kapag ang batang Pilipino ay lumaking malusog, ang buong bayan po ang aangat. Dahil walang batang Pilipino ang dapat matulog na gutom at walang batang Pilipino ang dapat mangarap ng walang laman ng tiyan. Muli, Ginoong Pangulo, maraming salamat at pagpalain po tayong lahat ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
Maraming salamat, Senator Joel Villanueva. We recognize the gentleman from Pampanga, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Just a quick manifestation. We will submit our co-sponsorship speech for this measure. We congratulate Senator Bam Aquino for marshalling this through. Nung nakaraang dalawang kampanya po natin ay pagkain at gutom ang ating tinututukan. Kaya ito'y isa sa mga mahalagang panukalang batas na dapat lamang ay maipasa kaagad. Isang pondo, Mr. President, 4 ang tinutugunan. Kahirapan, kalusugan, edukasyon, at agrikultura at pangingisda, Mr. President. 4 ang tinutugunan, isang pondo, Mr. President. Hindi lang gutom ng ating mga kababayan, ang ating mga anak, pati ang gutom ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda na maibenta ng tama ang kanilang ani at huli para gumanda ang kanilang kita, matutugunan din ng panukalang ito. Kaya we will submit our co-sponsorship speech, and we thank Senator Bam Aquino for marshalling this measure. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Thank you.
very much.
We also recognize the gentleman from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise today to manifest my full support on Senator Bam Aquino's bill and formally co-sponsored the bill on the expanded National Nutrition Program under Committee Report number 71. Section 15, Article 2 of our 1987 Constitution explicitly mandates that the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people. Yet, despite our past legislative efforts, we are cognizant of the stark reality that child malnutrition remains a formidable crisis in our country. Under Republic Act number 11037 or the Masustansyang Pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, our national feeding program is currently limited to a period of 120 days. Mr. President, this is simply insufficient to sustain the nutritional requirements of our growing children from prenatal period to their school age years. Hindi naman po nawawala ang gutom at malnutrisyon pagkalipas ng 120 days. Sa katunayan, karamihan sa mga kaso ng stunting ay nagsisimula sa unang yugto ng buhay ng isang bata. Kaya kinakailangan ang tuloy-tuloy at pangmatagalang interbensyon. It is for this reason that I also filed Senate Bill number 1471. Through this measure, we seek to extend the national feeding program. Furthermore, this bill represents an opportunity to simultaneously uplift another marginalized sector by harmonizing this measure with Section 11 of Republic Act number 11321 or the Sagip-Saka Act. We mandate the direct purchase of agricultural and fishery products from accredited farmers and fisher folks cooperatives. Mr. President, by linking our national feeding initiatives directly with our local producers, we combat the hunger that impairs our students' ability to learn, and we secure reliable livelihood for our agriculture sector. Win-win solution para sa ating mga mag-aaral at magsasaka. I therefore co-sponsor this vital measure and earnestly urge my distinguished colleagues to please support its swift passage. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we congratulate the sponsors for this timely measure. We were talking about it with the Senate President really quick, just a quick manifestation. We have one of the shortest populations in Southeast Asia. There was a study recently made, and I read about it. Short in height, Mr. President, because of stunting due to malnourishment and malnutrition. And the fact is that we're a basketball-loving country. So if we do not address this, sayang naman yung pagmamahal natin sa basketball. As a matter of fact, nilampasan na po tayo ng leaps and bounds ng Vietnam and Thailand the children's height or the height average of Vietnam and Thailand, matatangkad na sila. Because early on, they had promoted the school feeding program and nutrition program. So I'd like to thank Senator Joel Villanueva and Senator Bam Aquino for this measure, Mr. President, and we hope to pass this as soon as possible time.
Majority Leader,
Yes,
with
Mr.
just a short manifestation, with the intervention of the Senate, Senator Bam, and the rest of our colleagues, we managed to increase the feeding program in DepEd to 28 billion pesos. So right now, ang target this year is to have universal feeding for kindergarten, grade 1, for 180 days. No? So araw-araw mapapakain na sila. And this bill bodes well with that budget because we need to institutionalize that. No? And kaya timely ho itong bill na ito para ma-institutionalize yung budget na inilagay ho natin. No?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We need to do this and act on this measure with haste. Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration of the measure to allow our colleagues to study the measure further.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned bill is hereby suspended.
Mr. President, we'd just like to designate, before we suspend for the CA, we'd just like to designate the members of two bicameral conference committees that will happen very soon. I move that the Senate President rather designate the Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions on Senate Bill number 1981 and House Bill number 4744. These are the bills on Private Basic Education Vouchers Assistance Act, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the following are designated conferees on the disagreeing provisions on Senate Bill number 1981 and House Bill number 4744. Senator Bam Aquino as chairperson, Senate President Win Gatchalian as the author of this bill, and Senator Joel Villanueva. For the minority, Senator Lauren Legarda and Senator Camille Villar.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move also that we proceed with the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions on Senate Bill number 1966 and House Bill number 6636. This is the bill institutionalizing the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situations Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees on the Conference Committee on Disagreeing Provisions on Senate Bill number 1966 and House Bill number 6636. They are Senator Erwin Tulfo as chairperson, members for the majority, Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Vicente Soto III, and for the minority, Senator Bongo.
Thank you, Mr. President. And also for the record, Senator Kiko Pangilinan would like to be co-author and co-sponsor of the committee report of Senator Bam, as well as yours truly, Mr. President, if it can be made also co-sponsor and co-author.
So recorded.
Thank you. And Senator Rafi Tulfo as well, Mr.
Yes,
President.
so recorded.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we also we have the list of the minority members to the CA so that they can also participate in today's commission on appointments. This list had come from the office of Senator Pia Cayetano. Mr. President, I move that we elect the following senators as members of the Commission on Appointments on the part of the minority: Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Lauren Legarda, and Senator Jinggoy Estrada. I so move.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
And also, Mr. President, pursuant to Article 6, Section 17 of the 1987 Constitution, I move to elect the following members to the Senate Electoral Tribunal on the part of the minority: Senators Pia Cayetano and Senator Robin Hood Padilla. I so
Is
move.
there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
With that, Mr. President, I move to suspend session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon to allow us to have our Commission on Appointments hearings this afternoon, Mr. President. I so move.
Session is suspended.